Right now at 6, a global vote to demand a ceasefire in Gaza, and we already know it's going to fail. We'll have the reason why ahead.
Reported ceasefire calls outside of a home of a local rabbi. Why he says he feels targeted.
Also, lawmakers are set to tackle housing issues across the state. We'll have a look at just some of the changes under consideration.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Well, good Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us at 6 here on Fox 61 and Fox 61 Plus America areas.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Let's get you the forecast in case you got to get out the door soon. Meteorologist Ryan Breton joins us now. Chilly out there.
Sure is.
Saying unseasonably, but it was under 20 degrees where I was.
Definitely one of the colder mornings we've had this month, which says more about how warm it's been than probably how cold it is this morning. But nonetheless, you'll have to bundle up and give the car a couple of minutes to warm up this morning. We are at 18 right now in Hartford, 12 in Newington, 11 in Glastonbury and Bristol, and the coldest on the map, 9 degrees right now in Vernon. Even on the shoreline, we're at 19 degrees in East Haven, 21 in Madison, 18 degrees in Shelton this morning. Not much wind out there, so that's some good news. There won't be much of a wind chill on top of these temperatures, which are cold in and of themselves. Mostly clear sky out there this morning, and as we expand the map back to the west, a lot of dry weather, and that means we have another bright and sunny day ahead today. But the biggest difference between yesterday's weather and today's weather will be less wind. So I think you can get outside as long as you dress warm. You'll be able to enjoy the sun today as temperatures get back into the mid and upper 30s. Beyond today, there is a little bit of a warming trend in the forecast. I'll be back to talk more about that and a whole lot more. But right now at 6:02 this morning, we'll turn things over to Symphony with a check on traffic. Good morning.
Hey, good morning to you. We're already seeing a couple of crashes out there early this morning, unlike yesterday. So let's go ahead and get the ball rolling on what you need to know this morning. Starting out in Avon, this one just came down right before we started the 6 o'clock hour. Right now, there's a 3-vehicle wreck and out on Route 10 right now, and it is closed at Revernol. So expect a little bit of a delay heading out that way. Also watching a crash out on I-91 northbound around exit 33. As we take a live look out at the scene right now, you can see they have that area closed off, and traffic is flowing on that one side of the road out there. Quick look at your Hartford drive times. No delays reported on 91 South, 84 East, or Route 2. We'll have your next update coming up at 6:30.
The United Nations Security Council is expected to vote on a resolution demanding a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza.
The vote is set to happen at 10 o'clock this morning, our time. The U.S. plans to veto it. Now, U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield says the White House is concerned that supporting the resolution will interfere with its ongoing efforts to secure a long-term ceasefire. She says the key elements of a deal are on the table. The U.S. believes the Arab-backed resolution being voted on today won't achieve the same outcome as this potential U.S. agreement. Of course, as the fighting continues, the death toll rises. The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry says at least 29,000 Palestinians died in the last 5 months. 2/3 of the dead are women and children. The health ministry does not distinguish between civilians and militants in its records. Some 69,000 people have been hurt.
In Jerusalem, hundreds of people protested outside Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office. They said they want Israel to reach a deal with Hamas so that hostages can be released. So far, Netanyahu has held firm that the war will continue until Israel achieves total victory. And Hamas said it's refusing to release anyone until Israel ends the war, withdraws from Gaza, and releases hundreds of Palestinian prisoners.
Now, the war having impacts to daily life here at home, including communities calling for a ceasefire and at least one looking to reverse its position.
Now, Fox 61's Brooke Griffin joins us in Hamden with more on what's going on in these various towns across the state. Good morning.
Hi, good morning to you. Here in Connecticut, some communities are choosing to try to stand up for a ceasefire and join those national efforts. Those who are spearheading the project saying that they want to help in any way possible, even if it is just moral support. Now today, Hampton Town Council is expected to take a vote on a proposed ceasefire resolution. But before that happens, there is a rally planned outside of the council meeting for people to show their support. Now, Hampton is one of the 4 communities in Connecticut Connecticut to raise the topic over the past few months. Windsor and Bridgeport called for a ceasefire, and New Haven City Council is still discussing. It was passed in those other towns. Now, across the country, dozens of cities have taken similar action. Now, these moves are all symbolic, of course, as they have no impact on whether a ceasefire actually happens. But this is where Bridgeport comes in. Its council was the first Connecticut town to pass a local ceasefire resolution. Now, tonight it will try to reverse its stance based on council members who say their jobs don't include international affairs. The reversal language states council members must recognize the tragedies in the Middle East, but their role is to address matters strictly related to the city. However, not every member of Bridgeport Council agrees.
And the community was gathering all different faiths to say that they wanted a ceasefire. So I believe we have a responsibility to call for that in support of what our community is asking for.
And I did mention that rally here in Hamden. That is going to be at 6 o'clock this evening ahead of the town council meeting that starts at 7, and then that's when that resolution vote will happen. Live in Hamden, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Hi, Brooke. Thank you for that report. Well, this morning, a local rabbi is speaking out after he said he felt targeted by a New Haven City employee. That's the woman right there. She was seen protesting in the middle of the street that the rabbi lives on, waving a Palestinian flag and using a megaphone calling for a ceasefire to the war in Gaza.
She stood in front of my house with a megaphone and started screaming. What's that if not Nazi behavior?
Well, you do have a sign that says you support Israel.
So as you heard, there was a man there, too, who was taking video of Rabbi Elkanan Pupko. The rabbi said he believes the two came to his home because of that sign on his lawn that says, "We stand with Israel." As you saw, he approached the man and the woman, who was identified by city leaders as Tabisa Rich.
My mind is racing, trying to figure out who is this and why did they come here? Because, when you're with your family, it's just a very scary thought. Who's targeting me?
Rabbi Pupko said there's a time and place for these demonstrations, and this wasn't it. His family said they called the police to break it up. Now, New Haven Mayor Justin Elicker said Rich does not speak on behalf of the city. In a statement, Elicker said, quote, "While people have very different and strongly held views on the war between Israel and Hamas, there is an appropriate time, place, and manner in which to express them. In my view, Rich exercised extremely poor judgment in this regard. In addition, several of her personal statements and social media posts are incredibly offensive to our Jewish residents and the wider New Haven community," end quote. Mayor Elicker said he's reviewing the matter and said he'll act once the city investigation is complete.
6:07 now, and the Michelle Troconis trial will resume in Stamford this morning, with the jury once again watching her third interview with police. Troconis has been charged in connection with the disappearance and presumed death of Jennifer Dulos. The investigator who interviewed Troconis highlighted details Troconis left out of her first two interviews, but admitted in the third interview. The prosecution expects to rest its case sometime this week. And Connecticut's news station is going to have coverage of the Troconis trial on Fox 61 Plus. We'll also have a recap of the trial on Fox 61 on air and online. First Lady Jill Biden is going to be in Guilford tonight for a political finance event for the president's re-election bid. She's expected to fly in this afternoon. She's arriving at Tweed New Haven Airport. Tomorrow, the First Lady will visit Cambridge, Massachusetts, as part of the White House initiative on women's health research.
Well, housing will once again be in focus in the capital city. Hartford's mayor is expected to announce his plans for getting more rental properties in line with the city's housing code. He'll also talk about what he plans to do to landlords and property owners who refuse to comply. Meanwhile, lawmakers on the Housing Committee will talk about measures aimed at improving the life of renters and property owners. One of the bills addresses no-fault evictions. In other words, evictions where a landlord kicks a tenant out for no stated reason. Another bill calls for creating a housing authority, resident quality of life improvement grant program. And then a third bill would create a task force to study rental savings accounts. All right, now to a follow-up on a story we first reported last week. The state's two biggest power companies, Eversource and United Illuminating, are asking for rate increases as high as 19%. We're digging into why those utilities say they need this extra money. And first of all, they said the biggest factor is state regulations that force them to pay for energy from the Millstone nuclear plant.
It's a commodity. It goes up, it goes down. It is never fixed.
The decisions that were made Everything looks different in hindsight.
They also said they lost a bunch of money during the pandemic because of safeguards that stopped them from shutting off service and collecting from customers who didn't pay their bills. They said that cost is now being spread across all customers. The utility said they won't be making a profit from any rate increases, rather that they need the money just to pay for state-mandated programs. Now, one more note here. If any of you out there use a third-party energy supplier, keep in mind these proposed rate increases would still apply to you because the increase is coming on the delivery of electricity and not the use of it.